Hi guys, Alicia Oxy from True Detective, Life Sentence, Ballers, Bad Sister.
Hello, Brian, Nico, Dustin, Mike. So, what I'll say is, don't go out there. Sayonara.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. We're going to be reviewing True Detective episodes 5 and 6 this episode. I'm really excited. This has been, Brian, you weren't wrong. This has been a fantastic series. I've loved every episode I've watched. I've had a great time reviewing them. I thought I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'll just give my quick thoughts. I'm doing scene by scene tonight. Episodes 5 and 6 are my two favorites that we're reviewing together. Like overall, I would throw 3 up there as well. I think 3 is a really good episode. 4 is really good as well. It's action packed. But 5 and 6, I don't know. There's just really good character stuff. A lot of drama. It's just there. It deep dives into these two characters, and I really appreciated it. Brian, you want to go next? What are your thoughts? Quick thoughts on you can just do 5 first if you want to, or you can just do both. Either way.
Well, I really love them, especially episode 5. We were talking about, you said this was your favorite duo of them. I think 4 and 5 together are my 2 favorite episodes of the series. I'm glad that you love it. I don't know, has it been a long time since me and you have been on the same page with stuff? I know we were on Hill House, but still, I mean, I feel like in the movies we're always like polar opposites. But as far as this episode goes, I mentioned last episode where they're really hinting, but here is really where we get into that unreliable narrator, and seeing that unfold it was nothing short of extraordinary for me. And I almost said magical right there, but I felt like I'd get paused. So anyway,
you're good.
Quick audible there. But anyway, yeah, fantastic fucking episode. It's just so powerful. I believe it has a 9.5 on IMDb. So just a masterpiece of cinema, in my opinion.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 are my favorite stretch of episodes, like those 3 collectively. And so I said earlier that 5 and 6 are my favorite 2. I think, we're breaking them down 2 episodes at a time. So yes, right. I can say that there. But then in retrospect, I did like 5 and 6 slightly more than 4, but still just 3 really good episodes. So it's like keeps the tension and drama keeps amping up. And so I was like all in on this to the point to where I broke my own rule. I finished the show. And so instead of doing just 2 episodes at a time. So yeah, it's really good stuff.
All right, guys, you ready to get started with episode 5?
You held out longer than I thought you would, Dustin. I'm impressed.
It's like me in the dating life. I held out until I was, 34.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, episode 5, The Secret Fate of All Life. The episode starts with Russ sitting at the sportsman's bar with Ginger. D-Wall sits down to talk business with him, but D-Wall declines. He doesn't need the money. He tells Russ he has a demon, and he doesn't like Russ' face. I see you again. I'm putting you down. He walks out, and Russ is in disbelief. Russ and Marty are chasing after D-Wall to find Reggie Ledoux. Russ has Ginger bound on the floor of the truck, hitting bumps to make the ride as uncomfortable as possible. The detectives ask Russ how he got onto Ledoux. Russ asks to see the rest of the file if they want his help. Russ tells Marty he ditched Ginger in a ditch, and the two go look for the cookout on foot. Marty tells the detectives Russ' father taught him bow hunting and having to track after prey. The two come across all the cult wooden symbols and cross creeks until they find the cookhouse. The two see D-Wall walking, and Marty says he isn't doing this without him. The two present day are telling their version of the story to the detectives as past them are navigating their way to the house. Marty enters the house, and the tattooed shirtless man from previous episode enters. He orders his hands on his head and escorts him outside. He handcuffs him on his knees, and Marty checks out the barn. Russ tells D-Wall to freeze. He's state police. Reggie says he saw Russ in his dreams. You're in Carcosa with me. Marty opens a semi-trailer and exits the barn. He immediately puts a bullet into Reggie's skull. Russ shoots at a fleeing D-Wall, and his body explodes. All right, Brian, that's the opening action-packed set of scenes. What'd you think?
Yeah, and we tell in that last episode with just that unbelievable action-packed set of scenes on that one shot, you think you'd have to get let down here. And instead, I mean, they followed up with this masterpiece, and especially like this set of scenes to me. It was unbelievable. I was not let down. So at the start of this, standout line to me. I mean, yeah, it's coming from a piece of shit into Wall, but to Rust, but it doesn't make it not true. And you can tell it cut deep with him. It's a line about his corrosive soul at the edges of his eyes and the demon cloud following him. Deep shit, great line there, stand out. And whoo, while they're tracking DeWall, to me, the tension's just super high. You know, I love when Russ tells Marty to go call it in. Marty's playing, by the way. And then he replies, fuck you, you aren't doing this by yourself once they get there. I love that. And then we get one of the most powerful sets of scenes in the entire thing. I mean, the discovery with the unreliable narration being told over the top of it, just so tense. And in a show with so much dialogue, the most beautiful shot, most beautiful part, I guess, of this scene here is when Marty shoots Ledoux in the back of his head. And in that exact moment, like no matter the differences in opinion or the issues the two have had, when Russ looks up at Marty after shooting that motherfucker, their bond is solidified, like right there. And, you know, Rust was willing to support him all the way through it. And the whole thing just starts really all come together with no dialogue right there. So that was just strong.
It was also like his line when he said, I'm just glad to see you commit to something. Like that really hits home with what we've heard from Maggie in regards to Marty. You know, it's like he doesn't know who he is and all this. That was awesome.
True.
But, all right, so it was hilarious to me that Russ has Ginger at the bar with him drinking like he didn't just fuck him up. Like, that's power. That's a power move. And then Buddy at the bar was wild. He had a lyric. He said, your face makes me want to do things to it. Pause. Like, what did he mean by that, brother? What did he mean by that? That's crazy. But also, this is the episode that I realized that Ginger is Glenn from Shutter Island, Tommy from Power, Frank from Ozark. Joseph Sikora looks unrecognizable in this show. Wow.
Oh, shit, I didn't
know that was him until I was looking at the credits. Anyway, Russ's plan is shut down, and I'm not surprised, but you got to commend him for trying. He's like, you know, fuck it. We call it audible, and let's just go straight for it. Didn't work, but, you know, that's okay. I love that Marty is still wearing his generic black hat, looking like a complete dweeb. I laughed again. That was good. That was funny. I also laughed when Russ swerved and slammed Ginger's head into the side of the truck. That's good shit. I love that Marty didn't take Russ at his words that he'd stay put if he went back for backup. He's like, all right, Marty, go ahead. You better go. I'll wait here. It's like, fuck you. Let's just go. Like that was good stuff. The woods here. Yeah, he knew. The woods here are like if Kevin McAllister grew up to be a meth cook. Holy booby trap Batman. Like Harry and Mark would have been toast in these woods. Absolutely love the way it's presented with Russ and Marty telling their version of the story to the detectives and then us getting to see what actually happened. It's perfect. It's a great reveal that there's layers to the story that we continue to have to peel, and that despite what has happened, what's transpired between their relationship, like they've still got each other's back. They're sticking to the story. The score here is another thing they nailed. It's so ominous and eerie. Loved it, and that's really a consistent theme throughout the rest of this next couple episodes. I like the shot of Marty after he opens the door. Like, we don't see what he saw but Woody Harrelson did such a great job at showing his emotions and showing that it was especially heinous. And then, bam, he blew that motherfucker's brains out with no hesitation. Yeah. That's how pedophiles should be treated, in my opinion. Just my opinion. This is a great open to the episode.
Hey, I know it's a sidebar, but you brought it up. Have you guys seen the Harry and Marv? It's called on YouTube. It's called Home Alone with Blood. Have you seen that?
What?
I haven't.
Look, they take, all the injuries, all the bricks, all the shit they take to the head. Somebody CG's blood in there, and it is fucking gruesome, dude. It's like real life. It was like if he'd have taken that shot to the head, he'd be dead. Like, you need to go watch YouTube or go YouTube. I don't know, how do young kids, hey, fellow kids, how do you say this nowadays? Fucking, you go YouTube it, or do you just search it on YouTube? I don't know, whatever. But it's called Home Alone with Blood.
Well, I think I just found my birthday episode. That sounds incredible.
Man, YouTube kicking Brian's ass right now. Love you, brother.
Old man yells at cloud.
Exactly.
All right, President Rust is fibbing on his story as Marty is in shock of what happened. Rust says to get the cuffs off so he can make this look right. Rust sees the 2 children in the semi-trailer. He tells Marty not to bring the kids out until he says so and starts shooting his gun into the woods. Rust and Marty carry the children out to the road and confirms the meth and LSD matched that in Dora Lang. The boy had died the previous day and the girl was catatonic. The 2 men enter the station as Rust speaks on time being a flat circle and the kids experiencing that pain again and again. The 2 are celebrated by their co-workers for finding their man. We see Marty at the roller rink with Maggie and his girls having fun. They beg for one more lap and ask if Daddy is coming home yet. Maggie asks Marty if there are others. He says no. Marty says that was a different person. He lost it. I'm back and I'm begging. He tells her he cut the booze for 5 weeks and is in a group. She tells him he has a long rope to climb. The detectives ask Russ about his interview technique. Marty says if you needed a confession, the state called for him. Marty says his greatest sin was inattention, even worse than infidelity. We see Audrey being dropped off at the house and we cut to dinner time. He's asking Audrey about her fashion and her style choices. Maggie gives him a sarcastic look as Audrey says he doesn't understand. Why would he? Now he gets schooled on there being 8th grade cheerleaders. And that time is a flat circle thing. That's something you got to watch. That's a really good segment by Matthew McConaughey. Y'all go check that out. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's fantastic. So the shot at the start, the set of scenes here with Russ turning that corner and finding those kids, the way that Fukunaga shot that, where the little girl sitting up is almost in this silhouette and the whole thing is almost in this like dream state, man, like in the behind the scenes after the episode, like they do talk about that particular shot some and how it's, one of their favorites as well in the show. And you can see why, because it's beautiful. And, despite it showing the lies in the story and Rust and Marty setting them up, the board commending them on being heroes at the same time, that's really twofold. Because, they are fucking heroes. And that hero shot of McConaughey and Harrelson walking out with those little kids out of the woods, absolutely just almost tear-jerking, especially with the narration with Rust talking about the boy being dead less than a day. Damn. And see, this is what Pizzolatto and Fukunaga said, but it's true. This is another time where this is taking your expectations and flipping them on its head, because we're on episode 5 of 8 and we've now solved the case we've been building to this entire time. Well, so we think. And it's so genius because now all of these years later, where, if this would be a movie, it would be a sequel. But now, now we have to shift focus and be like, okay, what's going on in present day now? But okay. It is kind of nice after that to get a little bit of a break, but it's a little jarring, if I'm being honest, to go straight from that to Skateland with fucking Marty and the family. And even as we get a little glimpse into those few years and a taste of their lives during the time period between 95 and 2012, in fact, this is actually the only episode the entire season to depict all 3 of those time periods as we jump and start to spend a lot of time kind of in 2002 here. And you get that sense that Marty finally got his second chance and he's starting to blow it again. And I'll let Dustin touch on Audrey and Macy's actors. And for that matter, where have we seen Laurie Spencer before?
Yeah, Russ directing traffic here lets us know this ain't his first rodeo. He's had to stage some crime scenes before, like when he said take the cuffs off before the blood settles. Like, he's been down that path before. That was a great touch. Hearing Russ say that it was kids was gut-wrenching to me. Like, hearing him say they didn't bring them out yet was a relief, though, because at least one of them was, I don't know, in my mind I thought they were both alive, but we find out that I guess only one of them survived. But, man, that was tough.
Same.
Good to see Marty roller skating with his kids. Get Your Girl Back season is in full swing. That a boy. And Russ even started dating Shirley Crane. Nice. Good for him. Like you said, Brian. Where have you seen her before? Marty talking about feeling life has passed him home or passed by him, hit home for me. Also reminded me of when Andy Bernard said, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Exactly.
But like the great prophet Tracy Lawrence says, time marches on, brother. We get a look at Marty's kids after they've all grown up a little bit, and holy shit, he raised Lizzie from The Walking Dead and Starlight from The Boys. Neat. This is a little bit slower set of scenes for me, but still really, really good.
All right, Marty gets home with Audrey and he's infuriated with her. He tells Maggie about a deputy finding her in a car with 2 boys in a state of undress. The boys are 19 and 20, and he is deciding on pressing stat rape charges. Marty questions her decisions, and she says, fuck you. He smacks her instantly, and Maggie chases after her. Russ goes interstellar and begins talking about space and time as he continues making beer can figure men. Russ is interrogating a man and absolutely schooling folk. He gets the man to confess that he shot the pharmacist. He realizes what he just did and asks to make a deal. He knows things. He says, y'all never caught the man that did that. He's still out there killing. I'll tell you about the Yellow King, and Russ smacks him. Give me a fucking name, and he presses him to the wall in anger. He pleads for a deal while Russ is pulled out the room. Russ leaves saying he's coming back tomorrow to find out more. Russ is talking about time, eternity, being born to the detectives. Russ tells Marty to push his deposition. He has someone they need to talk to about the Yellow King. Russ thinks the task force may have been in on it back in 95. Russ and Marty enter the jail and see the inmate has committed suicide. Russ asks to see the camera feed. Russ asks to see the call logs and for the officers' names. They drive out to the payphone and Russ wants it checked for prints. Marty demands why they're all over Cole, or he walks, after they mention Billy Lee Tuttle died 2 years after Cole came back to the state. All right, Brian's next set of scenes. What do you think?
Tell us about Russ's girl and what happened between them. What always happens between men and women. Reality. Put that shit on a fucking t-shirt, please. Wow. Anyway, that's a pretty perfect segue into this crazy situation with Marty and Maggie and Audrey because I'm speechless. Like, as a father of a girl and a teenage boy, mind you, I honestly just don't really know what to say about that whole thing. It is pretty cool to hear McConaughey as Cole, like you mentioned, Nico, talking about viewing space and time from a different dimension and all that shit, since literally this came out the same year that he was releasing Interstellar. So, knowing the ad-libbing that he did in Wolf of Wall Street, that's very interesting. Like, I wonder how much of that was on purpose or in the script. There's a nice little Slash Film article on Matthew struggling filming both characters since they're both drastically different. And it's a good read, so go check that out. And little fun fact, then I'll get out of here. Chris Berry, who plays Guy Francis in this set of scenes, the dude being interrogated by Cole, also played Danny Fontenot in episode 1, the cerebrally impaired uncle of the missing girl, Marie Fontenot. Just slapped a mustache on him and got him back out there. So there you go.
Did not realize that. That's cool. Calling your daughter captain of the varsity slut team is insane. But
Yes.
when your underage daughter is getting tag teamed by 2 adults, I don't know, man. Thank God I don't have daughters. I'd kill those boys and lock her in a room until she's 18. I don't condone slapping the taste out of her mouth, though. Like, that was a bit much, maybe. I don't know. I can't lie. When she locked herself in a room, I 100% the story was going to take a dark twist here. I thought she was going to end up killing herself because mom's knocking on the door. She's not saying a word. She's clearly rebelling. I got a little nervous. Can't lie. Somehow in Russ babbling about time, he convinced me that the earth is flat. I'm sold. I don't ask how. Don't ask how I got there, but Russ manipulating the guy in the interrogation room was elite detective work. Amazing watch there. And it was great when the tables turned and we hear that the real killer's still out there. Then we get a whole Epstein didn't kill himself moment when when his lead mysteriously died in a cell there. Very suspicious death. Detectives implying that Rust had something to do with Tuttle's death was very interesting. But what's more interesting is seeing Marty stick up for Rust, given how I know their relationship played out. Like, he said basically he's a good man. He wouldn't do that, and got up and spoiler alert, he fucked your wife, man. Throw him under the bus.
Look at you holding grudges.
I'm highly invested in this show, in this episode, so I'm ready to see how it plays out in the finish.
You talk about McConaughey talking you into something. I always picture him as a judge and saying, "All rise, all rise, all rise."
Oh, brother. I like it.
All right, guys, here's the ending of this episode. Russ is examining the tree and stares at the vines and twigs intertwined. The detectives tell Marty Russ' story doesn't add up. Russ is on the computer seeing a lot of maiden errors messages. Russ is angered with the detectives. He says he already knows all this in the files. They haven't looked at any of the unsolved. They say they want to know what he does with his time, and they leave the room. Russ is looking through the old light-of-way school until the detectives come back into the room. They show Russ pictures from the Lake Charles crime scene. Russ was spotted 5 times at their crime scenes by 5 different people. They tell Marty he has a storage shed, but won't let anyone see what's inside. Russ tells them no, they can't see what's inside his storage shed. The 2 detectives are questioning Russ until he stands up and tells them if they want to see anything, get a warrant. Thanks for the beer, but they wasted his day as he walks out the precinct. The detectives question Marty more as Russ finds the wooden symbols in the school. They ask Marty for help with what happened leading up to their altercation. The episode ends with Russ examining the symbol as the sun shines through the window. Brian, what do you think about the ending?
I can't remember in the previous episodes that we've done, did we already talk about Rust having a beer because he knows that it's inadmissible in court?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but yeah.
The first part of this is just so damn good when the detectives tell Marty that they already interviewed Russ, and Marty smiles. You weren't getting a read on him. He was getting a read on you. I love it. And we find out Cole, came in here solely to see how much they had on this new case. And now that it all comes together because, we were worried about it, or at least I was, okay, we solved the case at the end of the first set of scenes of episode 5. And, okay, now we know we didn't get everybody. And that's what we're going after, this third act of the series. We see that they're trying to pin it on Russ, but I never really bought into that. They're pretty convincing on another watch through, though, but I never really bought into Russ being a red herring there personally. So I don't know how many people did or didn't. I just didn't really. And, this particular episode won one of those 5 Emmys that we talked about last DGOT episode. This one won for outstanding makeup. I don't know, but maybe on the kids, or maybe making Russ look like a pedophile. What am I missing with the outstanding makeup this episode? I mean, the powdering on Woody's head. And look, I tried to say that sentence multiple different ways. There's no way to say the powdering on Woody's head without it sounding dirtier than I meant it. Okay, I tried to write it a different way.
Yeah, I've got my gavel in my hand. I'm watching you, bud. The detective getting flustered by Rust and showing his hand was entertaining. Shows how good Rust really is. And then finding out that he's been at 5 crime scenes is an eyebrow raiser. Starts to make you wonder if he is the villain of the show, especially when the detectives paint the scene for Marty. I thought that was really well done.
But did you really, watching this the first time, did you buy that, oh shit, well, maybe it is him?
I didn't really, but I wouldn't have been shocked had it been that case because, he was
Fair.
very vague and very, he was very defensive, not defensive, but he was asking them, turning their questions around and asking them more questions. And then went off on these tangents in his room almost as a diversion tactic. So I wouldn't have been surprised, but I think it was well done how they planted that possibility. They also mentioned a fight between the two that I was very interested in learning more about. And after I learned, I'll save it for the next episode. Right. But this is a really good episode. Like I said, this one's right there with episode 4 to me. It's like splitting hairs, which one I like more.
Yeah.
Y'all got any fun facts you want to share or final thoughts on episode 5?
I have one fun fact.
Go for it. I got a couple.
It's just that both cars have no license plates. It's more of a goof. Both cars have no license plates whenever they're driving away from the prison. After the scene where they check the security tapes, if you notice that, I didn't notice that at first until I read that.
Marty is wearing a Pink Floyd shirt from their album, The Division Bell, which focused on the breakup of the band. So that's a good little tip of the cap there. And as far as final thoughts, I've been rating these as we go. I gave this one a 9.25, just like I gave episode 4. So like I said, it's right there with it.
Yeah, I'm above a 9 for every episode as well, too. Any more final thoughts before we just go to episode 6? Episode 6, Haunted Houses. The episode starts with Marty at the jail with the 2 guys who are involved with his daughter. He opens the cell door and asks if they want to come out and get some air. Marty gives them their 2 choices and tells them to come on out here. He starts laying the smackdown on the first guy and then goes into the cell to kick the next guy's ass. Marty vomits leaving the jail as the detectives are asking about Rust. He was investigating missing persons cases without him knowing. He finds out Sonny Guidry went to one of them Tuttle schools. The detectives are interrogating Maggie now and say they're not after her ex. They want to know about Rust in 2002. She thought Rust was a good man. Rust knew who he was, and there was no talking him out of it. Marty goes into T-Mobile, and a familiar face walks up to him to help. He leaves and gets a wild hair and goes to Fox and the Hound bar. Yes, I know that's a movie, Dustin, and I have seen it. The woman from T-Mobile goes to the bar and makes conversation with him, asking if he's a cop. She tells him her name's Beth. Russ goes into a store asking if the Reverend always hits the bottle this early. The 2 are ripping cigs, and he asks Joel about working for the Tuttles. Joel tells him of a school in 1988 where children were interfered with. Rust asks why he left. Bureaucracy, politics. He calls him a liar. Why'd you leave? Joel says he found a folder full of pictures of children, naked. Looked like they were sleeping. Joel says he took the folder to Deacon Farrar, and he acted angered it was brought to him. Joel tells Russ his last 2 tents were vandalized and he lost heart. That's why he quit preaching. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Being a father, I may love this open more than any episode in the entire series. Now, don't get me wrong, Audrey is at fault too, but it's the her being underage thing for me that makes it even fucking worse for these guys. And Harrelson, or Marty's line, man games charges a man's price. Take that away and you have nothing else. What a fucking bar again. And can I stop the show right now and say a prayer that I'm never in this position as a father ever? Like, amen. Hit me with those 3 Hail Marys, Brother Dustin, just cover all my bases.
I'm not Catholic, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it don't matter. See, Maggie in her interview, first of all, they do a great job of making her look older, but not too old. And I fucking love Michelle Monaghan in this. She just is straight, no bullshit, and continues to be this entire episode. Like, especially what we find out she ended up, dealing with later on as well, which kind of leads us back to Beth. Because, and man, as soon as she shows up, I just am like, God damn it, Marty. Because, people fuck up, but you're rooting for him, but what's coming. And then she shows up at the bar and it's over. It's a ball game. You can hang it up right there.
Yeah. Tents open with Marty visiting the 2 adults that were Eiffel Towering his 16-year-old daughter. Man gave them a simple choice. Catch these hands or go on a registry. Wise choice by the guys to take that ass whooping because that stuff follows you for life. Great job showing Marty, how he was affected by it all. His nerves were shot and he puked in the parking lot. That's a great way to add relatability and realism to his situation. Marty gets brought in to talk to the detectives, and of course she says Rust was a good man. Confirms my theory that she shoulders most of the blame for what they did. I have a major question about the next scene with Marty, though. Why the fuck did he take 2 bags packed full of tampons into the bar with him? Put that in your car, weirdo. Like, you're in the parking lot. Put it in your fucking car. Good to see Beth escape the whorehouse, and man, age did her a ton of favors. Smoke show. Good stuff with Russ and the Reverend talking there, and a really good opening set of scenes.
That's such a good point about taking the tampons, and that didn't make sense at all. Weirdo.
Right. He was walking to his car in the parking lot, turned back and saw the bar. It's like, oh, this can't wait. I need a beer now. Fuck out of here.
All right, Marty and Beth are talking outside of a bar about her rebuilding her life. She calls him a hero and a good man. God gave us these flaws. There's nothing wrong with the way he made us. The universe forgives all, she says, and she asks if he wants some bourbon. We cut to her place where she's riding him like Seabiscuit. He grabs her back with his wedding ring visible and looks over, seeing a devil figurine. The detectives ask about their last case. Russ is interrogating a woman, asking what happened to Jessica. He shows her the chart of her child's sleep apnea machine being unplugged and says he needs her to talk to him. Russ tells her the newspaper will be hard on her. Prison is cruel to people who hurt children. You should kill yourself if given the chance, and walks out. Russ tosses Marty the confession to type up and walks away. The two argue. Marty asks what's with his attitude. Russ says to him face to face, man to man, without me, there is no you. So type the fucking paper and storms out. I was like, oh, okay, goddamn. Russ is meeting with the girl they saved from the semi-trailer. Russ talks to Kelly and asks her some questions about the men from back then. She says the man with the scars was the worst. The giant. He made me watch what he did to Billy. His face, his face, his face, she repeats, until she begins to panic and cry. The nurses intervene and Russ leaves. Major Leroy asks Russ about these old cases. Russ says they didn't get all the men involved with the Dora Lane killing. Russ asks Leroy, why was Tuttle so fired up to take over with his task force? Marty calls everything gibberish. Russ says he's got some fucking nerve. Leroy orders him to stop visiting missing persons cases. Russ walks out shooting Marty the bird. All right, Brian's next set of scenes. What'd you think?
God gave us these flaws, Marty. There's nothing wrong with the way God made us. The universe fixes all. I was like, fuck. Just hearing that, you're like, well, Marty is fucked.
I folded and I was in my living room. I couldn't imagine what I'd do in his position. So.
I wrote, he was fucked literally and figuratively. Hell, Beth almost convinced me. That's what I wrote. And this Charmaine interview, God, how fucking funny was Marty saying that, just what we were all thinking. Like, we're getting this long step-by-step brutal just description of her kids dying from SIDS. And he says, you ever heard of fucking condom?
Yeah.
Look, this is a nightmare of a thing, but that made me laugh. And Rusty telling her she should kill herself at the end. I was like, oh, shit, okay. And this is just a pretty deep episode altogether. I mean, Cole finding Kelly in that home definitely lets us know what we thought already, that 100% solidifies that there was another guy. But deep-wise, I mean, the demons that she's dealing with, the demons Marty's dealing with, the demons Rust is dealing with, it all just kind of comes into open at the same time, and everybody is on this almost parallel course of just shit and on a highway to hell, as you would say. It's very nice, very good writing. Pizzolatto said the haunted house name also plays on the locked house of the mind as well. So just very deep things I never thought about before.
Marty, you slick son of a bitch. Just can't stop fucking around, huh? Although, I will say he was compromised. She compromised him. That was entrapment. Can't put him at sole fault for that one. She got him drunk and took advantage of him. Then in the interrogation room, Rust is playing good cop and relating to Charmaine. And then Marty, like you said, made me laugh out loud when he said, Jesus, lady, you ever hear of a fucking condom? He was disgusted. Like, that shit was so funny to me. It was ironic, though, that Charmaine said birth control was a sin, but she has no qualms with killing her kids, apparently. Fry her ass, man. Russ delivered the line of the show, the line of the series to me, when he told her that she gets the opportunity, she should kill herself. I co-sign that. Tax dollars should not go to support a long life for people like her. Heartbreaking seeing the girl Russ and Marty saved and what state she's in now. Man, that was tough. Like, she's fucked up for life. Heartbreaking. I like that they kept a consistent theme of everyone covering for Tuttle, even after all these years, show how far corrupt power goes. This set of scenes was, par for the course, which is not a slight. It just goes to show how great every set of scenes is.
Yeah, I agree. The detectives tell Marty Tuttle overdose and his Baton Rouge house was broken into, but never reported. They ask more about Cole. What's he been up to? He never left. He's been here the whole time doing bad things. Marty is fed up and says, don't call me again about Rust, and leaves. Marty is driving away until he hears a horn. He looks in the rear view until we cut to Maggie doing laundry. She checks the washing machine, seeing Marty's clothes in it, not knowing he's home. She sees his phone and looks through it, finding several texts from B, and she sees sexy pictures she sent him. All the while, he's asking about going on an overdue date. He's in his chair now, and she brings him some dinner. He tries to talk to his daughter, and she walks out. He asks for his youngest to turn the game on. She hands him the remote, saying she has to study. He turns the game on, and Maggie gives him the death stare. He tells her, I love you, and she says, thank you. Fuck. She asks him to turn the TV down while she reads. Maggie, Jesus. Just repeating that, I was like, Maggie is fed the fuck up with this guy.
Yep.
Maggie tends to agree with Russ's thoughts on forgiveness. Maggie sits down at the bar and immediately has a man ask to buy her a drink. Maggie tells him about their separation and getting back together. Russ meets with Billy Lee Tuttle. He asks about the Wellspring program. He asks if he has any files or list of faculties. He brings up Deacon Austin Farrar and the mood shifts. Russ brings up the dead women and children, and Tuttle says he'd like to get him with a clerk to look through the old files. Russ says he'll be back to look through them. Beth is on the phone with Marty begging for one more time. He tells her about how bad his day's been, and she tells him she wants him to explore her back door. Major Leroy calls out Russ for meeting with Billy Lee Tuttle. Marty lies about having the flu. He suspends Cole for a month without pay. He turns in his gun and badge and has to do 30 days counseling. I need counseling the least in this state, he says, and storms out the room. All right, Bryce, next set of scenes, what'd you think?
A whole lot happened in this set of scenes, but I don't have a whole lot of notes in this. But, man, you can see it in Maggie's face. I mean, just as soon as Marty's in the shower, you can see Monaghan's facial expression just kind of lose all color. And then she, once again finds proof on his phone. God, Marty's such a fucking idiot. But sidebar for a second. Like, when Marty is talking to Audrey and calls the show she's watching Dumb Blondes and Cracker Country, is he referring to Paris Hilton's Simple Life from back in the day? Is that what they're...
Damn, I didn't
Simple Life.
I didn't even think about that. The time period would have been right, 2002.
I think.
Holy shit! I didn't even think about that.
I just thought maybe that was a reference to that, but obviously can't say Simple Life for legal reasons or whatever. But anyway,
no. Okay, I just looked it up. Okay. The Simple Life, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie came out in 2003. So that may have been what they were looking. That may have just been a timeline like flub. But I like where your head's at. Pause.
Whoa. Anyway, Monaghan, this is her episode. I mean, she puts on an acting clinic. Just the way she looks at him on that chair, listening to his bullshit, and then you see on her face just a little facial, like a little smile, you're like, oh shit. Like it is ball game for you, Marty. You are about to get fucked up. And then, then you get her at the bar, but okay, look, I'll talk about that next set of scenes. Go ahead.
All right. The detective's telling Marty about Tuttle's house getting broken into and his alleged accidental death, and their suspicion that Russ never left the state is a big oh shit moment too. Like, they do a great job at painting conjecture around Russ. This is, again, like I said last episode, or episode 5, I didn't buy it, but they do a good job of planting at least a little bit of suspicion there. However, Marty has to be the sloppiest adulterer ever. Washing clothes separate from Maggie's when she's home, leaving your phone laying around with other women's nudes in it. Man acts like he's a rookie when he's a seasoned vet. Unreal. I was baffled by his moves there. And then, I love you. Thank you. How does he not know she knows? Man is remedial. Like, he brought all his downfall on himself. Maggie goes to the bar looking for some bar nuts, and she didn't even bother to take her wedding ring off. Like, that's cold-blooded. It also reminded me of, we mentioned Shirley Crane. Crane did the same shit. That's kind of funny to me. Russ going to Reverend Tuttle is crazy. Man does not give a single fuck about losing his job. He wants justice. I respect it, honestly. And then the least shocking events in the show, he got in trouble for it. Like, you can't go to the Tuttles and question him and expect there not to be any repercussions. Thankfully, Marty is fucking around on Maggie again because he deflected some of the wrath there from the captain when he looks like he hasn't seen his own bed in a couple of days. Oh, he got the flu. That was funny. I'm ready for the finale, though. I'm all in.
And they said, I didn't know that was going around. Yeah, that made me laugh. I didn't know that was going around.
Yeah.
All right, here's the ending. He's at home that night, and Maggie knocks on his door. She's crying. She says he's doing it again. I can't live with it, she says, weeping. She asks if he knew about it. She looks around his place and says he can't live like this. She grabs his face and kisses his neck. The two begin to kiss passionately, and then he bends her over his counter. She pulls her panties up, and he asks what the fuck she's doing here. She confesses to almost going home with a stranger, and she admits she did it so Marty will leave. It will hurt him. You get the fuck out of here, he yells at her. They ask about her split and it having nothing to do with Rust. Maggie is at the dining room table waiting for Marty. She has him sit down and tells him about seeing the pictures on his phone. She confesses to sleeping with someone. You know him. It was Rust. I fucked your partner, Rust. He calls her a whore, and she says she hasn't been fucked like that since before the girls. She is out to cut this man to the core.
Damn.
She calls him a coward and walks away. Sometime later, Marty is at his desk, and he's told Rust is outside. Marty storms out, and the two men fight. The fight is broken up, and everyone's ordered inside. Marty yells he's going to kill him, and it's not over. Russ says he quits. He'll send a letter, and then he compliments Marty's hook as he walks out the door. They ask Maggie why Russ quit. She says she never learned what it was about. I'm sure you don't know what it's about. Marty looks in the rear view, and a familiar red truck appears, flashing its lights. They pull over, and Russ walks up to the window. Russ offers to buy a beer for them, but then he volunteers Marty to buy the beers. Marty checks his gun, and the two take off driving as the episode ends. All right, go ahead, Brian. What'd you think about the ending?
So I saw behind the scenes on this, and Pizzolatto said it, but he said it's more and more apparent that this whole thing became less and less about revenge for Maggie, but more and more about what she can do to test herself and drive him away. I mean, look, he's the one that wrote it. So what am I going to say? He's wrong. I just felt like, yeah, it's a little bit about revenge. I mean, she wanted to hurt him. No, I mean, she wanted to destroy him. She went fucking scorched earth on his ass, or else it would have just been the guy at the bar. So no, I mean, come on, a little bit about revenge. And yeah, the entire thing is Marty's fault. Like, there's no question about it. He's a fucking moron. But also, Rust, come on. Like, I know he was drunk or intoxicated, but fuck, man. Like, look, you know what? Everybody here is at fault. Those are all fucking terrible decisions.
Well,
Dustin.
Well,
Dustin.
Go
Look,
ahead.
this fight, Cole just pretty much takes this beating. I mean, using it as punishment too. I mean, he deserves it. He knows it. A little fun fact before shooting Hart and Cole's fight scene, Matthew McConaughey, planning a surprise for Woody Harrelson on the set, had the soundman playing the theme song from Rocky when he walked in. I thought that was pretty funny. But, you know, we end the episode. Finally, we're fully in present day, and we get the present day instances of these characters. And finally, these next two episodes, we get to finally see what happens now. And so I'm ready.
Maggie's showing up at Rust's house. Russ should have kicked her out immediately, but he's a nice, caring man. She shows up crying. He wants to be a good person. I get it. What Maggie did, though, she's the villain of the show. The villain of the show.
God damn.
Marty, listen, Marty, I get it. He's cheating, but Marty's just out here having a little harmless sex. She targeted her husband's friend and colleague. That is treacherous. She did it specifically to hurt Marty the way that she knew it would the most, and in turn hurt Russ too. And again, the man was a victim here. She took advantage of him in a drunken state. Just despicable actions from her.
Jesus.
I will say, though, she wasted no time telling Marty. That is just cold-blooded shit there. Then Marty just sat at his desk just stewing. He was just waiting to whoop some ass. Bold of Russ to show up at the office. Marty sprinted across the parking lot and hit Russ with a spear, the likes of which haven't been seen since Bill Goldberg in 1998 WCW. Perfect form. Bill Goldberg. That was a hell of a fight scene. I loved it.
Yeah, it was.
I rewound it the first time because that fight was incredible. Russ quitting his job is tough. Like, he may be the only good cop in the entire state
Right.
who actually wanted justice and wasn't intimidated by corruption. Now he's gone. So you fucked that up. I do like how all parties involved committed to keeping their personal matters personal. We need more of that in the world today. You don't have to go spilling every little detail. Keep some shit to yourself. I'm glad Maggie even kept all that to herself, all these years later. But then again, I guess she had remarried, right? Like, when she,
I don't know.
Because when she visited, this is jumping ahead to the finale, but when she visits Marty in the hospital, she reaches out to him. She's got a wedding ring on.
Mm.
And then when they're interrogating her, the detectives called her Mrs. I can't remember that, like McGraw or something. That's not Marty's last name. So I think she had remarried. So I get maybe that's why she kept it. She didn't want her new husband to find out that that his best friend is a potential fuck target. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I can't explain the range of emotions I felt when Marty and Russ agreed to have a beer and talk. Like, knowing they hadn't talked in 10 years, like, it's exciting. I was genuinely excited at how Marty received Russ walking up to his car door there. Now, he did grab the pistol, or he grabbed the revolver and made sure it was loaded, so I was a little suspicious. But I was excited for this set of scenes and to see what's to come. I do find it hard to believe Russ never fixed his taillight, though, after tossing Marty into it in 2002 and breaking it. Come on. You're going to get pulled over for that. You're going to get pulled over for having a busted taillight like that. And then also, back to the fight, Marty just wants to yell across the parking lot around all these cops, I'm going to fucking kill you. Buddy, that's a criminal threat. Like I know that no one pressed charges. They agreed to not press charges, but you can't just be threatening to kill people. This was a great episode. To me, this is the singular best episode in the show.
Okay.
I agree, man.
I'll go ahead and say I gave it a 9.5.
Nice.
I like that you pointed out the tail light, 'cause I noticed that too. I thought it was just on par with his character. Like, he just didn't change it because it reminded him of when they fought.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the case, but I just find it hard to believe that he hasn't been pulled over in 10 years.
Yeah, but can we talk about the fact that if he did get pulled over, he'd have a DUI literally every single time? So I don't think the fucking tail light would matter a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of took it just as, like, he didn't go anywhere except to that bar, like, to work, and then just went right back home. So I didn't think he really even did much. So, but that's me just theorizing.
Well, no, he turned up at 5 different crime scenes across the state. Crime scenes are littered with cops. So I don't know.
No, you're not wrong about that. I also thought it was really cool that when you mentioned they reunited, like Marty only lost a little bit of hair and Russ looks like a totally different person.
Yeah. And even Marty even brought that up. It's like, did you change your hair? Like, that was funny to me.
Hey, before we end this, and y'all give y'all's final thoughts or read any fun facts. Hey, Dustin, who was the villain again?
No.
Maggie. 100%. Okay. Yellow King and the Tuttles, like, obviously they're the villains.
God.
They're obviously the villains, but to me it's 1A and 1B.
Oh my God.
On the same level, huh?
She is on par with the fucking Yellow King.
Dude, look, she was very calculated in her treachery. Like, yeah, that's bad.
We're about
But you don't think Marty deserved that shit?
No, I'm not saying he didn't, but you don't target the man's best friend and partner. You're fucking up more than one life there. Like I said, Marty's just out having a little harmless sex. There's no one could get hurt but Maggie here.
Oh.
Maggie's hurting multiple people.
Ladies.
She cost the state of Louisiana their only good cop. Think about that.
What? Rust is the one that fucked her?
He was drunk. He was taken advantage of.
Lady. Boy, this is
Hey,
I'm wild.
Also, I'm a parody account, so just you can't take anything I'm saying. Send all your hate mail to @bhath4.
I heard that last episode, by the way, you fucker.
I don't know what just happened. Anyway, y'all got any fun facts or anything you'd like to share on episode 6?
God damn. The only thing that I have is that it was on IMDb. It has a 9.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I had the one about Rocky. Brian said that. I'm glad you said that because that was awesome. That's just good stuff between brothers there, literal brothers, McConaughey and Harrelson. Yeah, that's all I had.
Wow, what a past couple minutes this episode's been. Like I mentioned, episode 5 and 6, my 2 favorites for sure. But I do need to rewatch 7 and 8. I do remember feeling not like let down with the finale, but it's like, damn, I kind of want to see a little bit more, But we'll talk about that next week. Brian, hell of a 6 episodes of this series. I've really enjoyed it. I knew I would like it just because who's in it, like the 2 stars. But yeah, it's lived up to it. It's been great. Y'all got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm glad you said that, though, because, a lot of times when you build something up like that, it can only go down. So I'm glad that it has lived up to it for you.
Yeah.
I'll just shout out our blood donors and we'll get out of here. Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, Michelle Mirza, the Horror Movie Crew Podcast, Alex Seligson, and Michael Evans. Camp Counselor Reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford Shan, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Matt Strickland, Brooke Maley, Thorne David Phillips, Heather Superdoc, the winner of our giveaway. Really appreciate that, by the way. Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home podcast, Dana Tucker, and a new one, Cole McAlexander. Me and him were actually chit-chatting about True Detective the other day. He's a big fan of the show too, Brian. We appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all been enjoying the series reviews, and we'll be back next week with the series finale to True Detective Season 1.
Damn it, Maggie.
Just want to remind everybody,